Now, with me making this particular video, I am kind of nervous about it because I know the Pokemon company and Game Freak is very particular when it comes to you talking about the Pokemon anime. I remember a lot of my friends had issues when they were reviewing the Pokemon anime. Even one of my good friends, KG Prestige, had his channel taken down because of him reviewing the Pokemon anime. So it's a weird place. You're so restricted with the images that you post, etc, etc. Now, what I wanted to talk about is the most recent anime for Pokemon, which is Pokemon Horizons. We've left Ash behind, he's graduated, and now we've moved on to two new particular heroes in the story, which is Liko and Roy. Now, Liko, her main Pokemon that she chooses, or I guess they choose each other, Sprigatito, later on in the anime catching Hatterene. Hatenna. Hatterene is the looking like Pokemon. And then Roy, the other character, brown boy, stand up, let's go. His starter Pokemon is a Fuecoco, as well as later on catching a Quattro. The story of this anime is a lot more complex than the basic Ash trying to become a Pokemon master. Now, I liked the Ash and Pikachu story a lot because even though it was very simplistic, Ash had one thing in mind, which is very parallel to the game, right? Which is defeat the gym leaders, beat the Elite Four, or, you know, do the Pokemon championships and win. That was Ash's whole thing, with other side quests on the side of him, you know, catching Pokemon and building compassion with his, you know, the people that he travels with and the friendships, etc, etc. This one in particular has a lot of layers that is a little bit different than what I got from the Pokemon anime, the original Ash and Pikachu anime. Now, I didn't watch a lot of the Ash and Pikachu stuff. I watched episodically until I believe Black and White, and then after Black and White I would watch clips here and there. Like I watched highlight clips from Sun and Moon, and then of course of the most recent when Ash becomes Pokemon Master. But when it comes to Horizons, I was like, you know what, it's a brand new adventure, I'm going to start over. I might as well see what it's like in comparison to like Indigo League. Personally, people say Indigo League is like the goated version of Pokemon. To be honest, even though Indigo League is very nostalgic and a very, very, very big part of my childhood, I wouldn't say that it's the best version of Ash. I actually like Sinnoh League. Hoenn was fun too, but I think Sinnoh and Hoenn might have been my favorite versions of Ash. And of course, the most recent when he becomes Pokemon Master, I mean, he gets a Gengar. I will say though, like the opening in comparison, like with the Pokemon opening in Horizons in comparison to Indigo League, not as iconic, right? I wanna be the very best that no one ever was. I don't know if there will be another iconic opening like that. I mean, the other Pokemon openings, I think Johto, Pokemon Johto, that's probably my favorite. That's probably my favorite. Horizons opening, it's alright, but it's not like, so I skip it. I'm gonna be honest. Pokemon Johto, I don't skip that. I like, okay, so now going back to Horizons, right? We have the two main characters, which is Roy and Liko, and their two personalities are very different. It's like Ash split into two, kind of, right? They're not looking to be a Pokemon master. Liko, she is more of like the compassionate, trying to understand Pokemon's feelings. She wants to become closer friends with them, and she wants to help Pokemon, kind of like Nurse Joy, but more like how I saw it was like she's more like a Pokemon psychiatrist, a Pokemon counselor. And then there's Roy. I feel like he's kind of more on the researcher end, kind of very similar to the other, I would consider him a main character, Reed, who his partner Pokemon is a Charizard and Pikachu, and we'll get to that in a little bit. Roy wants to be friends with Pokemon, and he just loves to have fun. That's his whole thing. He's excited, he wants to go out there and adventure, and he wants to learn more about Pokemon. I get the sense that he wants to get stronger, but he's more on adventure. He loves the adventure of things. Liko and Roy are not about defeating the gym leaders. They're not about catching every single Pokemon. They do want to learn more about Pokemon, and they do understand, and what's this in my hair, and they do know that they are trainers, but they're not the typical trainer that you would expect them to be. Rising Volt Tacklers, which is the group that Liko and Roy are a part of. There's this whole crew, and I'm not gonna go through everything, but every character in that crew has their story, and you're gonna learn more about their story as time goes by, which is super dope. You get it, like from the supporting cast to the main cast in this whole thing, they're important to the story and they're important to everything. Kind of like, you know, when Ash, let's go with Indigo League, which is what a lot of people are familiar with. Brock and Misty brought something different to the table than to Ash. They all had different goals, versus here everyone has a role that they have to take care of. For example, Freed is the leader. His partner Pokemons are Charizard, which is, you know, I believe that's his first starter, and then later on he meets up with Pikachu, which is the captain of the ship. They call him Captain Pikachu, and there's a lot of cool stuff about that Pikachu, but I'm not gonna get into it. I want you guys to watch it. And Freed is kind of like the guardian, even though he's kind of like free-spirited in his own way. He's a researcher. He loves the adventure. He loves going out there and finding things to research. He finds excitement when he goes somewhere and he sees something. He sees a Pokemon discovery that he wants to find an explanation for, like with a lot of happenings that are tied in with Roy and the old school Pokemon. If you played Pokemon Arceus, you would know what that Pokeball is. It's the first Pokeball, right? And then with Liko and their pendant and the tie-ins with all of these ancient Pokemon, there's ancient Pokemon involved. It's super sick. And there's other people on the ship like Dot. There's Murdoch, who's one of my favorite. He's a chef. There's Molly, Orla, Ludlow. I think Ludlow is the old man with the old man that owned the ship before it became a flying ship. And this anime is just chock full of adventures of them running into these ancient Pokemons and the tie-ins and them trying to discover different things and discovering things about themselves. One thing that we have to note though is that Pokemon is geared towards a younger audience. It's not going to have like some deep story like, you know, Attack on Titan, and it's not going to be even like for My Hero Academia. It's not going to go for that younger generation. This is pretty like super surface level Pokemon stuff, but there is some deeper things when it comes to like what the characters are going through, what the characters are feeling. And you can tell like when it comes to, you understand like the adults in this, like Freed, Orla, Murdoch, and their complex emotions when they feel certain things, versus when Roy and Liko are trying to discover things about themselves and they ask, why am I feeling this way? Why am I thinking this way? And it's more so them kind of guiding them and being like, you'll figure it out over time. And I really like that about this anime. It's a mixture of like these kids discovering themselves, but also these adults that go through these situations where they're trying to navigate their own way into solving problems that they have, while also being really understandable. Like it's so easy to understand for for kids to get. With that, I honestly really like Horizons. Do I like the new characters in comparison to Ash and Pikachu? They're okay. Like I think they have to grow on me a little bit more. But for sure, I would give this anime a chance. If you guys haven't watched it already, let me know. The Japanese version might appeal more to you guys that are watching me. I know we have more subtitle watchers than dub watchers. I watch the dub predominantly because I watch Ash and Pikachu in dub. So I'll stick to dub. But also, if you watch this, know that you are going to, this is really easy to understand because it's made for a super younger audience than for people who like us who like watching more complex anime. Nonetheless, guys, Pokemon Horizons is good. I like it. Watch it on Netflix. It's not sponsored, by the way, unless